The biggest stress for an active dementia resident is not being able to get out of the facility. If the dementia unit is up on the second floor and there's no area for them to be able to walk outside and where there's fresh air, sunshine and plants and trees, it can be unbelievably difficult and distressing. So when deciding on the dementia unit to put your relative into, it's really important to consider this aspect, that if they're fit, if they enjoy walking, if they love the outdoors, it is really important at all costs to try and get a dementia facility which is on the ground floor and where there's an area where the person can walk outside independently within a contained area. It's more important than anything, more important than location, more important than the food at the facility or the rooms. They need that outdoor space. And if they don't get that outdoor space, it can be incredibly demanding and distressing for them. In fact, it's completely different for an 80, 90-year-old woman, for example, who compared to, say, a 60-year-old man who's been fit and active all his life, and then he goes into a dementia facility, which is confined with no area outside to walk in. It's completely stifling. And he'll be yearning for the outside and needs that activity. Whereas for an 80, 90-year-old woman who's on a walker, who doesn't like walking much maybe, or who doesn't walk outside independently much anyway, if she's been in the downstairs nursing home and then gets transferred up to the dementia unit upstairs, then she'll hardly notice the difference of the confinement. I mean, she may well love the big lounge and the lovely big smart TV and her friendly neighbours or the lovely ladies that she sits next to at the activities. So she may be quite happy with the situation. Having outside lawn and garden and sunshine makes little difference to her. But for an active person, it is the most important thing. Now, if a facility can't be obtained, a dementia facility can't be sought where there is an outside area for the person to exercise, then it's really important to be able to get daily exercise, come what may, for this person, whether it's the power of attorney or a friend or a grandchild or a niece or a nephew, Rotary, Lions, whatever. Find someone, make sure that they get that daily walk every day, because at the very minimum, they actually need that walk every day, just to be able to get out the stress and tension in their system, to feel that they're being supported, to be able to stretch their legs, to normalise at least a small part of their life as to how it was before, because otherwise it's too much of a shock to the system and they just really won't manage. So often people think, they'll just come and visit, Sue or John or whoever at the facility and just sit down with them. But it's much better to take them out for a walk. And talk to them as you're walking. They're sitting all day in the facility. They don't need someone to come and sit and talk to them in the facility. They need to get out of the facility and get walking and talking and being outside and getting movement and fresh air and sunshine, all those beautiful things. Sometimes what happens is the relative comes in exhausted after a hard week at work, understandably, flops in the chair. Hi, Mum, how are you? Mum's dying to get out for a walk, but she's so polite and so enamoured with seeing her lovely son that she doesn't want to disturb him by saying that she'd like to go out for a walk. But to the staff, she's been wailing all week or saying all week, I want to go for a walk. But when the son comes, she just forgets about that, or otherwise doesn't want to create a fuss and doesn't mention anything about it. This is such a dilemma. It happens all the time, honestly, all week. I want to get out. And then us saying, well, ask your son to take you out when he comes and visits on a Saturday. The minute the son comes in, so happy to see the son sitting in the chair, even though she'd like to go out, doesn't want to make a fuss. None of this generation want to make a fuss. They don't want to make a fuss asking for the newspaper or make a fuss wanting to go for a walk or asking to go out for a walk. And so the relative often doesn't actually realise the extent of the problem because it's all week that the staff hear about it, about wanting the newspaper or about them wanting to go for a walk, but when the relative comes in, they don't say a thing. So that's why really, as a relative, it's good to take into consideration what the staff are saying. So if the staff tell you over the phone or mention to you when you come and visit that your mother's been wanting to go out for a walk all week, and you're saying, well, she's not saying that to me, they wouldn't actually be saying that she wants to go out for a walk and she's been asking to go out for a walk unless she had been asking to go out for a walk. So that's why, and it's good to ask the staff, even as a relative, has mum been asking for anything this week? Does she need anything? Would she like to go for a walk? Does she need a newspaper? You know, bring forward these ideas and points if your mother's not forthcoming, and because the carer and the nurses who are with her all week will be hearing what it is that she's been asking for and can deliver that to you. And if you can go ahead and action that, it's a great help for reducing the stress of these people in dementia units, because not being able to get out for active residents is a big thing. I mean, I actually think that if it's not possible to get a dementia unit or find a room in a dementia unit for an active person, say a younger person in the early 60s or early 70s, who's fit, active, good balance, good strength, good stride, no walking aid, you know, who's walked a lot. If you can't get the proper dementia unit facility initially, and it is upstairs and there's no walking area, I think it's even a good idea to consider replacement. If there's another facility, if there's another room in another facility which does have an outside area where the person can walk, I think it's probably a good idea to consider placement to that place. It's the most important thing really for them, because then they've got a place that they can go out to, walk around, sit in, have the sunshine, get the exercise. Even if they just walk around it, you know, many times a day, it's still they're getting that stress and tension out of their system and enjoying walking that they've always enjoyed, and rather than feeling, you know, so restricted in a place that they can't get out of. It's the most important thing, really. I mean, I know sometimes we think that maybe the facilities, the lounge area, the beautiful carpet, drapes, furnishings are all important, but for the dementia resident, for the active dementia residents, that's space outside and being able to walk. For the elderly dementia resident in 80s and 90s, yes, maybe she does love the lovely lounge and the big smart TV and where she can sit and watch television all day. So that's why it's important to be able to assess what it is that's important for your relative, and as much as practically possible to be able to work it out so that you can address their needs so as to be able to mitigate their stress as much as practically possible in a dementia unit. So I've written these 2 books on all these topics, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit, on Amazon, soft copy, hard copy, popular ebooks, and on my website in the description below, pietavalentine.com. So there's so much to this topic of dementia. In fact, the more you try and explain it, the more it seems there is to know. But I'm trying to break it down into segments for you so that you can address each issue as applicable for you. So I hope you're finding these videos interesting and useful, mainly that it's useful, and that people with dementia can then manage these stresses, and for us as relatives and staff, we can mitigate these stresses. That's the main thing. The more that the dementia resident can manage their stress, and the more that the stresses can be mitigated, the more chance they have of being able to manage living effectively and hopefully in a settled way, and even a happy way in a dementia unit. So thank you for your looks and your likes and your subscriptions and subscribing, and please subscribe if you find this channel interesting. Thank you.